On the night of July 5th, 2024, after what seemed like a picture-perfect evening, Seyeddah, Zahra, Hashemi, and Ladarius, Morshun, Brownlee were on their way home. They had just come from the Flower Mound Independence Fest in Texas, a night filled with laughter, music, and fireworks lighting up the sky. For a moment, everything felt right, but somewhere along that quiet drive home, something happened. What started as a joyful night turned into something dark, something irreversible. Within minutes, Zahra was lying on the pavement, pooling beneath her, for her life. What really happened that night? What caused the shift from laughter to violence? And how did a love story with millions of views turn into a nightmare? This is the story of TikTok couple Ladarius Brownlee and Seyeddah Hashemi. Ladarius Morshun Brownlee and Seyeddah Zahra Hashemi weren't just a couple, they were a digital love story unfolding in real time. On TikTok, they went by the name Deno Anzara, a blend of both their identities, and over time, that name became familiar to hundreds of thousands. Their videos weren't flashy or overly produced. That's what made them so addictive. They captured the kind of chemistry that made strangers smile and say, "I want what they have." Their content had a rhythm to it, a casual authenticity that drew people in. One moment, they were goofing off in their kitchen, tossing snacks at each other's faces. The next, they were wrapped up in soft, cozy moments. You could tell they were comfortable with each other, the kind of ease that comes from countless hours spent laughing over inside jokes no one else would ever understand. Zahra, with her soft features and big, expressive eyes, often played the calm to Brownlee's storm. She had a way of holding back her laughter, just long enough to make the payoff even sweeter. Brownlee, who called himself Dino, brought the loud energy. He was bold, quick to prank her with something outrageous, always recording, always trying to catch her off guard. Fans loved it. Their videos weren't just entertainment. They were little windows into a relationship that felt fun, flawed, but real. Their fans became emotionally invested, feeling like they were part of the relationship too. When Deno and Zahra posted a new clip, it didn't feel like watching strangers online. It felt like checking in on two people you were rooting for. Over time, the couple built a solid following. Their page gathered more than 155,000 followers and millions of views. Yet behind the viral laughs and affectionate hugs was a deeper dynamic that many fans never noticed or chose to ignore. In some clips, Deno's playfulness seemed to cross into something more aggressive. There were moments where Zahra looked genuinely uncomfortable, her smiles lingering a little too long, her eyes darting to the camera like she wasn't sure whether to keep playing along. At the time, these were brushed off as harmless pranks, just couples being couples, just part of the act. But everything changed in the blink of an eye. One tragic moment shattered the illusion that so many people had bought into. It happened on July 5th, 2024. The day had started with laughter. Zahra and Deno spent it at the Flower Mound Independence Fest in Texas, surrounded by food trucks, music, and the glow of fireworks painting the night sky. They blended into the crowd easily, just another young couple enjoying the warmth of summer with friends. But underneath the surface, something was wrong. The smiles they wore at the festival didn't match the energy that followed them home. No one watching them that evening could have predicted how the night would end. They left the event together, riding in a 2024 Chevrolet Blazer SUV with a few friends in the back. It should have been a normal drive home, just another night wrapping up after a public outing. But the argument followed them into the car, and inside that small space, voices rose. The fight that began in whispers turned into shouting, a clash of emotion that refused to die down. Brownlee was behind the wheel, and his frustration grew heavier with every mile. Zahra, sitting next to him, tried to speak but was cut off, again and again. In the back seat, their friends sat frozen, unsure of what to say, hoping the moment would pass. But it didn't. Instead of driving home, Brownlee suddenly veered off and pulled the SUV over on Flower Mound Road. He then reached for a fire. No one expected it, not Zahra, not the people in the back. In a move that defied every sense of reason, Brownlee raised the and aimed it at the woman he had once recorded love-filled videos with. In a split second, he pulled the trigger. The bullet struck Zahra above her right eye. She collapsed, and the SUV, once filled with the noise of an argument, was suddenly flooded with screams. Her body was found outside the vehicle, motionless, soaked in blood, lying on the side of the road. Friends dialed for help with shaking hands, trying to make sense of what had just happened. Zahra, barely clinging to life, was rushed to Baylor Scott and White Medical Center in Grapevine. Inside the trauma unit, doctors worked through the night, doing everything they could to stabilize her. At first, things didn't look good. The injury was severe. Those early hours were filled with uncertainty. The bullet hadn't killed her on the spot, but the damage it caused left her for survival. No one could say for sure if she would pull through. News of the shoot began to spread quickly, first among people close to the couple, then through social media, where disbelief turned into shock. For those who had followed Zahra's life online, it didn't make sense. Just days ago, she was smiling in a video. Now she was clinging to life in a hospital bed. And yet, against the odds, Zahra began to show signs of waking up. Doctors noticed small responses, flickers of movement, signs of consciousness. Day by day, her condition shifted from critical to stable. The bullet hadn't taken her life, but the road ahead was steep. She faced a long, painful recovery, one that would demand physical strength and emotional resilience. While Zahra fought for her life in the ICU, Ladarius Brownlee stayed exactly where it had all gone wrong. He didn't run, he didn't hide. Instead, he waited for the police, pacing near the vehicle. When he called 911, his voice was calm, almost mechanical. He admitted everything. The argument, the shit. By the time officers arrived, Brownlee had already given himself up. They took him into custody on the spot. During his interview with detectives, he repeated his confession, providing chilling details about how things had escalated so fast, too fast to take back. The charges came quickly: aggravated assault, deadly weapon, and 3 additional counts of conduct for firing the gun around others in the vehicle. He remains in custody at the Denton County Jail, with his bond set at $900,000. Details about upcoming court dates or legal proceedings have not been made available to the public. It didn't take long for certain videos to resurface, videos that now felt uncomfortable to watch. One from May showed something that no longer looked like a prank. In the clip, Brownlee had his arm wrapped tightly around Zahra's neck, holding her in what he called a joke, but what many viewers now recognized as a chokehold. At the time, some fans even laughed along in the comments, assuming it was part of their usual antics. Zahra, always trying to play it off, smiled, but her eyes didn't. Another video captured a much rawer moment. Brownlee was shouting at Zahra with such intensity that it felt like a private argument caught on camera. His voice cracked through the room as he yelled at her to get the hell out of here. There was no punchline, no cut to a laugh, just silence after the outburst. Zahra looked stunned. In hindsight, that moment felt far too real to be content. These weren't isolated incidents. They were flashes of something darker, something that didn't fit the image the couple tried to present. Viewers who had once admired their chemistry started to question everything. What else had they missed? People close to the couple began speaking out, quietly at first, then more directly. Some admitted they had noticed signs for months. Zahra showing up with a forced smile, her energy sometimes dull, her voice smaller. Friends said she'd mentioned heated arguments before, but always followed up with a phrase that many abuse victims know too well. He didn't mean it. It's just how he is when he's stressed. The tragedy didn't come out of nowhere. It had been building frame by frame, buried beneath likes and views. Now, every second of footage looked different. Not because the videos had changed, but because now, people were finally seeing them for what they really were.